Hello everybody and welcome back to this series. How can you make Excel work for you, make it part of your career, make some money out of Excel? That's what we're talking about. I hope you've seen the second static video in the series where we are talking about how to market your Excel skills. We've got 5 areas we're going to be focusing on, discussing those today, taking your questions in the chat, adding as much value for you as I can to get Excel working for you in your career and get you making money out of Excel. So we'll get into that in just a second. Remember, there's an Excel download file. You can click in the link below this video, an Excel download file for you to work through. That's going to help you structure your thinking. And I always find when I actually write things down, pen and paper, or just typing it, it kind of gives me this emotional commitment to what's going on. So download the file and work along with us. Right, who's with us in the chat today? Before we get started, Charles is with us in the chat, tuning in from Ohio. Welcome, Charles. Thanks for all the comments on the 30 for 30 series. Frank is with us over in the Netherlands. Good weather over there. Welcome, Frank. Good to have you with us too. And Lee tuned in just for a second. Lee Williams, one of our Members Monday members. Good to see you, Lee. And members, we'll see you all tomorrow for Members Monday. And then Tom Little tuning in as well. Welcome, Tom. Ian Lamb, one of our members up in Scotland. Welcome, Ian. Good to have you with us. Now, Daniel James Van Delsum, thank you for your feedback about the audio. And you've already said it sounds better today. I've just taken the level down. As I said, the levels reset after a Windows update. Anyway, it's all good now. So thank you for that, Daniel. Hey, Bart's with us as well. Welcome, Bart. Good to see you. And Peter is with us at the bottom. Peter, how are you, my friend? Good to have you back with us. Without further ado, I'll go on the right hand side of the screen. Let's get into our topic today. And I'm not suggesting this is easy. And our 5th point, which is about being strategic and being patient, we're going to kind of talk about that more. In no way am I suggesting this is easy, but I am suggesting if you focus on 3, 4, 5 key things, you can make things a lot easier. And looking back at my experience, if I'd done these things, it would have been a lot easier for me as well. I've been in this game 10 years. I think I could have got this far in 4 or 5 years if I'd gone through these steps properly. So let's talk about them one by one. I'll do a bit of presentation. Put your questions in the chat. I'll be dipping into the chat every 3 or 4 minutes. And we'll answer questions there. Welcome, Tony Tan. Welcome, Ian Reeve. And thank you for the feedback that I'm loud and clear. You've got to be the Excel guy. Now, I think in 30 for 30, I mentioned this a few times as well. And here's this cheesy picture of me being the Excel guy. But it's so important that you are known for something. And when people have an Excel problem, they think, okay, I'm going to call Daniel. Okay, I'm going to call Charles. Okay, I'm going to call Bart because I've got an Excel problem. And I recommend you just advertise yourself informally as the Excel guy. Where does this start? Well, we know from yesterday, we've got a niche down. Yeah, being everything to everybody. You're nothing to nobody. That's how it works in business. I've learned that through blood, sweat, and tears. Yesterday, we spoke about niching down by geography. Can you serve your local area? Niching down by sector, niching down by demographic. We said retired people is a demographic where there's unserved demand at the moment. But your first niche is going to be in your household. Yes, I mean your physical household, the people you live with. Does your partner, if you have a partner, does your partner know that you love Excel? He or she needs to know. They need to know. The other people you live with need to know. Your kids need to know. Believe me, everybody needs to know you're the Excel guy. You're going to start with that small prospective customer group. Yeah, remember yesterday? That's how we build a business, by dominating a tiny niche. Your first niche is your house, and then you can build out from there. And this is where I benefited from being involved in a few local communities. I play cricket here. Let me show you my cricket trophy. So this is from 1997. Can we get the camera to focus on that? There we go. 1997. That says maiden century, 1997. that's because I've been involved with the same cricket club for about 30 years now, believe it or not. And maybe Ian or one of the other British people can explain in the chat what cricket is. Oh, Sharon's in the chat. So welcome to my partner. I was just talking about partners. And thank you to Sharon. I love you very much. And thank you for being my fiance. Wouldn't be here without Sharon, by the way. She is the best. So I benefited from being involved with a cricket club. So I told everybody in my house I was into Excel. And then I started telling, the communities I was in. So at cricket, some people were like, oh, I've heard you've started a business. And I said, yeah, we're doing spreadsheets. And then I got a project through cricket. Somebody at cricket, the wife of somebody I play cricket with, works for an organization that uses lots and lots of data in the sports sector. And guess what? I've been working with them for 5 or 6 years now. Tomorrow, I'm going to have a phone meeting with them. So that client relationship has gone on for a long time. That came just from me saying, yes, I am the Excel guy. So you're going to start with your house, move on to whatever communities you're moving. You're moving and, your street, whatever it might be the Excel guy. You'll be surprised how many people are struggling with this. Now, as with anything I'm advocating, there's always another side, another side to the coin. There's always downsides. And I can remember a number of times that I've said, I'm the Excel guy, when people have kind of responded negatively to that. And you're going to get plenty of negative feedback. You're going to have to learn how to deal with that, because for a lot of people, spreadsheets are just kind of this very simple functional thing. Maybe they're literally using spreadsheets just to log data, whatever it might be. Spreadsheets seem very simplistic to them. So when you say you're the spreadsheet guy, you're going to get different reactions. And I've had lots of kind of confused and even negative or slightly defensive reactions, over the years when I say I do spreadsheet consultancy. And let me tell you one story quickly. I distinctly remember this one. I've got a twin sister. I don't know if I've already said. And when we were 18, we get our A-level results. Do they still do A-levels in the UK? But we got our A-level results. And some people used to compare my sister's performance with my performance, because obviously, like, we're twins, it's natural to compare us. And one of my friend's mums, I distinctly remember this, when we got our A-level results, she said to me, oh, your sister's results are better than yours, aren't they? And I was like, yeah, well, yeah, they might be. Yeah, So she just kind of, she was a bit of a competitive mum. I think it's safe to say. So that was, 15, 20 years ago. And then about 5 years ago, I bumped into the same person in the supermarket, and I remember this conversation I had with her ages ago. And guess what she said? She's like, what are you up to these days? And I said, I'm the spreadsheet guy. I'm the Excel guy. I do spreadsheet Excel consultancy. And she said to me, all right, but aren't spreadsheets easy? I do my own spreadsheets. They're really easy. And it cut deep with me because of this previous experience I've had. So don't expect everybody to buy into it. But what I would say is that they're not your customers. Yeah. We know by trying to be everything to everybody, you're nothing to nobody. If they're not in your niche, although I admire people who try to persuade and convince and do all that good stuff, you've got to pick your battles. So I would say to you, if they're not in your niche, they're not interested, they're not appreciating the potential of Excel, I'll just say, just leave them to it, just let them go. Not everybody is going to be convinced by the Excel guy, but we know we only need a tiny niche. Yesterday, I was watching somebody on YouTube saying, your company needs 1,000 customers to scale up. 1,000 customers. Yeah, you don't need everybody. You can have a tiny niche to create that demand. So that's point one. Be the Excel guy, and let me know in the chat. Have you downloaded the Excel file, and are you filling out the boxes here? These are going to get you thinking. I've actually put in the example box here in column D a bit of a kind of a similar comment to what I made about my cricket club comment earlier. So the Excel guy, great. So you're telling people in person when you're meeting in person. You've also got to get in line. Get in line? No, we've got to get in line by getting online. we've got to get online. You've got to create a lot of content. Welcome to Thomas, by the way, in the chat. Fantastic to have you with us. Now, this can be intimidating, creating online content. You know, I remember when we did our first videos, and we keep all our videos on the channel, so you can go back to our first videos to see what the quality was like. But I remember when we had our first videos on the channel, I was not a great presenter. I was pretty nervous. I'm still not a great presenter, to be honest, but back then I was even worse. What I can tell you is that it gets better with repetition. Everything gets better with repetition. So I would commit to doing something regularly, preferably daily. I'd also say, try to find your medium and try to find your platform. You know, I'm here on YouTube. You know, I love live streaming on YouTube. It's a visual medium. But if visual media aren't your thing, then what alternatives do you have? Well, what about audio? And audio is huge and growing at the moment with Alexa and all the little devices that people have in their houses. Why not get into podcasts? As far as I know, there's no good daily podcast on Excel. How about that? An Excel podcast, you could just record 50 Excel tips in a week, maybe 50 10-minute podcasts, get that online. I think people would love that. But what I would say about content is these days the game has changed. You've got to be able to create content at scale, which is why I commit to doing, a daily video. And this is the one thing I want you to action today, is go ahead and create your first video. Now, you don't even have to use it, but I recommend you do use it. And I'm going to go ahead and create a video now. This video I'm going to put on our Instagram page tomorrow. Now, on Instagram, Tiger Spreadsheet Solutions, #YourDailyTiger on Instagram. I do a daily 60-second video. Now, Thomas is with us, so I'm going to pretend I'm Thomas, and I'm going to do Thomas's first video. Now, 2 days ago rather, Thomas, he was in the stream. His video was in the stream. He's over in South Africa. Coming towards the end of your career, Thomas, is that fair to say? I'm sorry if that's an unfair comment, but you're very experienced. And I'm going to go ahead and make a video for the kind of thing I would do if I was Thomas. I'm going to put this video on Instagram tomorrow. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Your Daily Tiger. Now, this video I'm recording live in the live stream, so you can go ahead and check out the live stream, but it's a demonstration of how to record a 60-second video on your phone. Now, I'm going to pretend I'm Thomas, who's one of the viewers, and here's the video. So, hi everybody, my name's Thomas. I've started a new offering which you're going to be interested in if you're getting into Excel late in your career. So if, like me, you've got a lot of experience and you're just beginning to appreciate the possibilities of Excel later in your career, that's what I'm doing. I am your man. So on this channel, I'm going to share a daily video with you, and I'm going to tell you something I learn in Excel every day. I'm going to document my journey. It's for people like you and me. We're coming towards the end of our careers, more experienced people. I'll see you tomorrow. Video done. Now, that video I'm going to put on our Instagram page, and I'm saying to you today, can you go ahead and create your first video? You've got to be creating content. You've got to be creating content on the right platform. You've got to be creating content at scale. Yes, unless you're incredibly lucky. Unless you're incredibly lucky, you're going to have to create 100 videos or more before you even break through. But a final really important point about content. You might be saying to me, yeah, but Chris, I haven't got my skills to a good level where I can present on Excel. I'm saying that's not a problem. The only thing that matters is that you produce regular content. Now, for me and for lots of people out there, whoever is in your niche, it would be really interesting to see somebody document the process of getting better at Excel. So you're not saying this is how you do VBA or this is how you do formally like I do. You're not doing tutorials. You're documenting the process. That will be so interesting for so many people. So you could do things like review Excel learning channels, like review the Tiger channel, review some other channels, review some Excel books, buy a couple of training courses. They're not that expensive, and review some of the training courses. Document your journey of learning Excel. As far as I know, that channel does not yet exist. So you've got to find your platform. You've got to commit to doing content at scale, and you've got to serve a niche, whatever niche that might be. But don't be intimidated, okay? Don't think you have to do smooth presentation and tutorial. No, you just got to document what you are doing. So that's point 2, guys. You've got to create content at scale. Let me know what you think to that. Let's get into the chat here. Thomas is with us. So Thomas, let me know what you think about my video idea there. Jasmine is in the chat. Welcome, Jasmine. How's your cat, Jasmine, by the way? Got to give us an update there. Then let's have a look. What else is going on? Okay, so there's some good chat about Members Monday there in the chat. 22 views today and 8 likes. Thank you so much for being with us. So you're the Excel guy and you are creating content. Fantastic. So let's get on to point 3, which is you have got to over deliver on a project. I guarantee if you tell people you're the Excel guy and you create online content frequently aimed at a particular niche, I guarantee you're going to get people phoning you up. And you'll be surprised if you do these 2 things. You'll be surprised how quickly people start calling you up, or people start coming up to you, whatever it might be. What I'm saying is you're going to have a chance on a project. And in yesterday's stream, so if you go back to a part 2 of this series, which is the first live stream, we spoke about Maria's situation. Now, Maria is saying that she's getting requests for projects, but she's not sure if she can do the projects or not. So in that stream, there's some useful information about how to set up a project and how to establish if you can do a project or not. But this first project you get is the most important project of your career, the most important project of your life. I don't care who it's for. I don't care if it's for your next door neighbor. Is it for the local cricket team? Is it for the village hall? I don't care who it's for. It has to be a great project. You've got to take the time to speak to your customer, understand what they want, and then you don't just deliver on this project. You have got to over deliver. You have to exceed customer expectations. This first project has to be a success. Why is this so important? It's so important because if you have one successful project, that's the hard work done in many senses. If you have one successful project, we're going to see in the next step, you can then go ahead, promote that project, get other people, similar people, and do projects with them. And before you know it, you are carving out a niche for yourself. So you've got to be ready to go, ready to over deliver on that project. Good. Thomas says you're much better looking than me, but I love your ideas. Don't worry, Thomas. I mean, first, I don't accept what you're saying. And secondly, audio. Yeah, audio is a great medium. I think a lot of people feel a bit nervous on camera. Before each live stream, I'm nervous. Yeah, I'm still nervous on camera. That's perfectly natural. So you can either break through that through repetition. And one thing I would say at this point, when you first start, nobody's watching. Yeah, that's a good situation to be in when you're first starting. Okay. So no one's going to watch the first 10, 20 videos anyway. So you've got that time to sort it out, sort out your look, maybe I need a haircut, whatever it might be. But I'd also say, what about audio? If you do audio content, all you need is a microphone. You don't even need a microphone. You could do it just into your phone. And then you don't have to worry about any of the visuals at all. And it's fairly easy just to edit it. You might not need to edit it at all. And then to get it, I don't know the process with podcasts, but I think you have to get it on Apple or whatever it is. And the main variable, again, is 2 main variables. Can you target a niche? And can you do this regularly? Can you do content at scale? Jasmine says the cat meows so loudly. It sounds like, okay. So you're the Excel, you've got to put in some late nights, if you've got to put in some evenings, weekends, whatever it be, this isn't the path for you professionally. But hopefully you've managed to not just complete, you've over delivered. Now's the time to promote your success. Oh yes, you've had some success. You've got to communicate it. I was going to say decimate. I meant disseminate. You've got to, don't decimate anybody. You've got to disseminate this information. You're saying, Chris, how do I do that? I'm saying you've worked through the steps. Step number 2 was create content. So you have been creating content. You have a following. I don't care if it's 10 people. It might be 50 people. It might be 200 people. You're going to tell your audience about your project. If you've niched down well, you've been a bit strategic about this, you've niched down well, then maybe the people who are in your audience, as I said, it doesn't matter how many people there are, maybe they are similar to the person for whom you delivered that project. So already you've got a holding pen of prospective customers. All you have to do is tell them about this project. Doesn't need to be a big deal. Yeah, because you're doing daily content on your smartphone. Just tell them about the project on your smartphone. If you're doing the podcast, fantastic. Tell them about the success of the project on the podcast. It's not an advertisement. It's not a hard sell. It's a very soft sell. And you can, this might sound familiar, but you can, dress this up as kind of educational content, talk about it in terms of project management, whatever it might be, but make sure you're explicit about the success of the project. So without any kind of hard sell, you can pick up more customers that way. But if you've niched down properly, you have great options for targeting particular people. Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, all of these platforms offer very user-friendly ways for you to target particular demographics. And we've been mentioning, Excel for senior people. You could target an age demographic. We've mentioned Excel for engineers, a particular sector. You could target a particular sector on LinkedIn, whatever it might be. So you've got the soft sell option, which is where you just talk about the project on your platform. Then you've got the hard sell option. You can do some targeted advertising. You'll be surprised how little it costs as well, particularly on LinkedIn at the moment. Targeted advertising aimed at that niche. That's just from one project, a single successful project. You are off and running. And then you can get another project and maybe another project. Before you know it, you are carving out your niche and you are building your business. So let me know in the chat. Does that make sense to you guys? The first 4 steps there. Any questions? Just pop them in the chat. Okie dokie, good. So we're through our first 4 steps now. So you're the Excel guy. You've created some content. You've over-delivered on a project. You've promoted your success on your platform. Maybe you're doing some targeted advertising as well. Finally, although I've just rattled through those choices quite quickly, we've got to bear in mind that this is going to take time. So you have to be patient. You have to be strategic. And I mentioned when I was talking about number 1 here, the various kind of setbacks I've had, or how would I say it? The kind of feeling of negativity when somebody kind of gives you negative feedback. And I was saying, when I say I'm the spreadsheet guy, some people just laugh. Can you imagine that? If you said, you're a lawyer or you're a builder, whatever it might be, and certain people just laughed at you, half of the people are just going to laugh. But don't worry, they're not your niche. You could spend your time trying to convince them, but bear in mind that you have limited energy. You have a finite amount of energy that you can devote to persuading people of the merit of what you're doing. Yeah, that gets very tiring very quickly. So I'd say, you just get on with it. It's fine. You can just do what you want to do. Be patient, be strategic. Now, you are going to get negative feedback. And let me tell you something about some negative feedback I had. And this is 6 years ago on the YouTube channel. And I vividly remember, through the kind of history of the company, there's a few kind of turning points, and this is definitely one of them. And it's funny, just looking back at it now, this comment from this chap called Ian Turnbull, it's nothing personal against him, by the way. I mean, it's a perfectly reasonable comment, really. He just said, in the real world, you always get duplicates, so this technique does not work. Now, that kind of comment I get every day on the YouTube channel now. And these days, it doesn't really bother me, but it shows you how difficult this process is, because when I was building up the business, going through these steps I'm talking about, it's really hard work, and you're not absolutely sure if it's what you should be doing. And you can sometimes feel defensive when people criticize you. And the truth is, when I looked at this comment, I almost closed down the YouTube channel. Seriously, at this point, we had about 15 videos on the channel. I was seriously thinking about deleting all of the videos. I was that hurt by this comment. And you can go and find this video. This is in the league table, how to build a league table. It's the third video in the series. What really hurt me about this comment was that this league table technique came from the real world. Everything I teach on the channel, I'm just trying to think, is this an exaggeration? It's not. Everything I teach on the channel is tested in the real world. I don't teach anything because it's just interesting in Excel, really. Yeah. I don't really do that. Lots of people do. Lots of people do tutorials on the latest Excel formula. Here's a tutorial. I'm only going to tell people about it if I've tested it in the real world. And this league table technique, I had done 2 projects. One was in sport and the other one was in education, where I had actually implemented this technique. It's a combination of formulae. It's match and offset and rank formulae. Combine them together, you can get yourself a league table in Excel. So I was really stung, because I was like, it does work in the real world. It does work in the real world because I'm actually doing it. But because the business was very young then, I was inexperienced. It was really hard to take. That's why you've got to be patient. You've got to be strategic, and you've got to have some coping strategies for when things get hard. When somebody you care about makes a comment about what you're doing, when you get negative feedback online. What about when you're working with a client? This I was really bad at. You're working with a client and they give you negative feedback on your spreadsheet implementation. Whoa, you have to be able to handle that. Yeah. So develop some coping mechanisms, whatever it might be. Everything gets better with time. Everything gets better with experience, but there will be some critical moments during your development, during your company's development, whatever it might be, where you're going to have to call on some personal resources to get you through difficult situations. As I said, it might just be in a social situation, someone laughing at your idea. I've responded badly in that situation. Yeah, I'm a little bit ashamed of some of the responses in that situation. But these days, it's water off a duck's back, as they say in the UK. It doesn't make any difference to these days. And my advice is, just remember, you only need a niche. Okay. I would like to convince everybody in the world of the merits of Excel. And I've explained on this channel, if we could do that, if I could have 5 minutes with everybody, every manager in the world, I truly think the world would be a different place and the economy would be a different place. In reality, we're not going to have that chance. Unfortunately, unless Members Monday really takes off, we're not going to have that chance. So you're not going to be able to convince everybody. Pick your battles. Focus on your niche. Focus on the people who are potential customers for you. So that's our 5 steps. Let's get into the chat. Any final questions then, guys? Justin, great question here. Beware the time burglars. Yeah, you've got to have a strategy for this as well. And this is one of a number of kind of peripheral issues that might become centrally important from time to time. So once people know you're the Excel guy, people are going to be getting in touch with you with questions. So you've got to have a strategy for how you deal with those. Now, I recommend early in your practice, it's good experience for you having those questions coming in. So I recommend early in your practice, you treat all those questions like a mini project, okay? But as you move forwards, you get more questions, then you're going to have to deal with the dilemma, how much advice do I give for free? How much work do I do for free? And this is something, through experience, I've now learned to deal with, but it took time. And this again is another reason I love online content. Give it all away online, guys. This is the best advice I can give you. Give it all away online. It's not going to affect your ability to get paid or deliver your service. In fact, it's going to massively amplify it. Also, it means that you feel less guilty when you say no to somebody. I get 15 emails a day with Excel questions, sometimes more, sometimes less. I've got to be able to quickly filter. Is this a serious work inquiry? Is it somebody, Jasmine's used the term time burglar. Is it somebody just looking to waste some time? You've got to make a quick judgment there. But I would say if you have a body of work online that is free, even if it's only 3 or 4 videos that are free, that gives you confidence in these conversations. Well, when you're dealing with people's requests and you feel you need to say no for whatever reason, you can direct people to the online content. Maybe it's helpful for them, or you just have that sense of kind of well-being that you do a lot of stuff for free. And this has really helped me over the years. I've done 200 YouTube videos, 200 Instagram videos for free. So I feel confident in these conversations now. And another point, that free content is the whole foundation for the business. Give it all away for free. It has all kinds of benefits. So a great point there from Jasfet. Thank you. Peter says, I knew nothing about VBA until discovering Tiger a year ago. Now, great fun and very rewarding. Great to hear, Peter. And are you thinking about making VBA, more central to your career? Let me know. Yeah, good point here from Charles. There are good negative feedback comments, and then there are trolls for trolling for people's sake. If you're popular, you must expect both. This is a great point, Charles. Yeah, you've got to distinguish between people who are trying to wind you up. We would say in the UK, you'll get that. And people who genuinely are trying to help, but maybe don't phrase their comments in a very diplomatic way. And again, this will come with experience, but you've got to remember, feedback is gold dust, really. It can be difficult to take. Early in my career, I was terrible at taking feedback, okay? And somebody took me to one side, and I'm very grateful to this person, and said, listen, you've got a problem taking feedback. People don't like working with you, okay? That was hard to take, but that's the best thing that ever happened to me. It's also a great thing about online content. You're going to get feedback all the time. So you're going to get better at dealing with feedback. If you can get good at dealing with feedback, that's going to have massive benefits for your work. People are going to want to work with you to begin with. If it's, I know it's easy working with Bart, for example. Me and Bart's been in Members Monday. I know it's easy working with Jasfin. I know it's easy working with Lee earlier, because I know we can communicate well. And they don't respond defensively. They give me feedback on Members Monday. I give them feedback on their Excel stuff. So you're going to get negative comments, but maybe there's some gems of feedback there that might be really helpful. Let me give you an example. I've had struggles on the channel with these things, microphones, with audio. And I can see my microphone isn't well adjusted now. Let's adjust it. And when people first started saying your audio isn't very good, my first response was, was a bit defensive. I didn't say anything, but to myself, I was thinking, oh, they don't know what they're talking about. Then my brother, this is why you've got to have critical friends around you. My brother knows a lot about, is basically like a sound engineer. And he said, listen, it's not that good. You're not using the mic properly. I had the worst situation. I had a really good mic, a 250, 300 pound mic that I wasn't using properly, which is like the worst situation. And I was getting feedback online, and my brother said to me, listen, you're not doing this right. So I went through it with my brother, and now I know a lot more about sound. So that's why now the audio is better. But even in the last stream, Daniel, my man Daniel, thank you for the feedback, said the audio wasn't good. And I was like, yeah, I went, listen to the stream. It wasn't great. And it turns out that some of the sound settings on my system had changed during the Windows update. So thank you to Daniel. Well, that was a great piece of feedback. It was right. And he phrased it diplomatically as well. That's the best piece of feedback. Don't expect them to phrase it diplomatically. It's still meaningful and helpful, the things that they say. Any further questions then, guys? Okay, Peter says, definite opportunity to use VBA in my area, assessing as things develop. Good stuff, Peter. And could you create some content about that? I don't know. Or could you, could you promote your success in some way? I don't know. Just looking at the points here. Maybe you could. Bart says, I like feedback, but not always know what to do with it and where to start. Yeah, absolutely. I think all of us would say taking feedback can be difficult. And you're right, Bart. You know, of this feedback I've got, what is kind of emotional from the person who is giving it to me and what is actually a good point, a valid point that I need to take note of. You know, we're all dealing with that as human beings. You're going to get better at that if you're creating online content. Charles says, good old Steve. Where is he, by the way? Steve, he lives over in Germany. Steve does. And I'm based here in the East Midlands in the UK. So we see each other, 2, 3, 4 times a year. When we see each other, we usually do some streaming. Charles, I'll be honest with you. I've been trying to get Steve to come and work for Tiger for about 3 years now. But he just loves his life in Berlin. And I can understand why. I mean, it's a great life in Berlin. But he's around, he's healthy, and Steve is always involved with the channel, giving me tips on audio. I want Steve to do a series for us. He's like, I'm a bit biased, but he's the best teacher I've ever seen. I've seen some of his teaching, and I'm just like, oh, jeez, God, my teaching's awful. My teaching feels so rudimentary and basic when I see some people teach, and he's one of them. So I'm trying to get Steve to come and do a business communication course for us, which means things like presentation, things like writing emails, all that really important stuff that wraps up a project. I'm trying to get him to come and do some work for us, probably in Members Monday. So put in the comments, Steve, come and work for Tiger if you'd like to see more of Steve. But that's coming, and that's part of the long-term direction on the channel, of course, which is to move from, we're still going to be doing spreadsheet stuff, still going to be doing VBA stuff, but we're going to move towards a more diversified offering that is an accessible and affordable alternative to business school education. Fantastic stuff. Hey, this one's made me laugh. Charles says, my wife just came in to pick up. My wife just came in to pick something off the printer. I told her, hey, I'm the Excel guy. Charles, you are all over this. Well done, Charles. Peter says, need a balanced approach to feedback. Absolutely. They are seldom experts or provide a balanced view. That's part of how much notice do we take? How does it fit with what we know? Absolutely, Peter. We've got to decide. We've got to decide that, you know, how much notice do we take of this? How much is this person just in a bad mood? That's all part of taking feedback. Sharon says you should definitely do that course with Steve. We are working on it, Shazza, don't worry. Thomas says, I had a situation where most students were very young. They all gave me negative evaluations. No, we found out they loved the younger trainer, so I only trained senior members from that company. You know what I would say? That is, Thomas, that's, forgive me for putting it in very simplistic terms, and I've had negative feedback on teaching. I know what it's like. But you might be in the wrong niche there. Yeah. If there's, you know, I'm not going to be very good, I don't think, at teaching 14-year-olds anymore, because they're not really my niche. You know, I'm mid-30s now, mid to late 30s. Sharon's on the stream. I'm sure she pointed that out. So you got to find your niche, and you got to be able to say, well, that's probably not my niche, you know, and you got to be comfortable with that. Yeah, can we have 1,000 mails to Steve that he will say yes? I can't give you Steve's email address, but if you put comments below this video, guys, saying we'd like more content from Steve, I will definitely WhatsApp him those comments. So guys, thank you so much. So Charles is already the Excel guy. That's funny, but that's how you got to start. Go and tell your partner you're the Excel guy. You've got to create the online content. Doesn't have to be video. Doesn't have to be well polished. I'm putting Thomas's video on Instagram tomorrow. Tiger Spreadsheet Solutions on Instagram. Hashtag Your Daily Tiger on Instagram. When you get a project, it's a big deal. Has to be a big deal for you. Make sure you do a good job. Then you can promote your success to the audience you've already established. Then, if you can deploy patience and a strategic perspective, you are going to be good to go. I'm loving delivering this series, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your support. Tomorrow, there's a static video release, 4 o'clock UK time. We're going to be talking about how to manage your first client meeting. Take care, guys. I'll see you tomorrow with a static video, and then on Tuesday for the live stream. Take care.